Sunland Park this week is in recap mode. I'm your host, Tom Dawson. Sunland Derby Day produced an all-time record mutual handle total of $4.8 million this past Sunday, and nearly a third of that was wagered on the $800,000 Sunland Derby itself. The public had the Derby scoped out pretty well. Number 1, Mucho Gusto, was the 9-10 favorite for trainer Bob Baffert. Northern California Invader, Another Twist of Fate, was third choice at 7-2, while Todd Pletcher's Cutting Humor took some late action all the way down to 2-1. At the break, the three inside horses all got away well, and Mucho Gusto found himself on the lead. He was still there when the real racing began.
Mucho Gusto on the inside, trying to go gate to wire in the Sunland Derby. Out by a half a length to Hustle Up. One away, Cutting Humor, coming up 3 wide. On the inside, Another Twist of Fate. Wicked Indeed starting to run. Behind them, Walker Stalker and Pasamonte Man, and now Cutting Humor on the outside, joining Mucho Gusto, and has gone to the front. Mucho Gusto tries to fight back. Cutting Humor on the outside, and Mucho Gusto, and they turn together. Mucho Gusto digs in on the inside. Mucho Gusto, Cutting Humor, now Another Twist of Fate lets loose and down the center, tries to run down Cutting Humor. Cutting Humor, Another Twist of Fate, Another Twist of Fate coming with every stride as they go to the wire. Cutting Humor just got in from Another Twist of Fate.
After several tries, two-time Kentucky Derby winning trainer Todd Pletcher finally gets his Sunland Derby victory as Cutting Humor scores in track record time, 1 minute, 46.94 seconds. Hall of Fame jockey John Velasquez provided the winning ride, then talked about his trip.
Well, once I got to the quarter pole, I thought he was going pretty easy, and then I asked him, and as soon as he found himself on the lead, he started waiting, man. I mean, he idled pretty badly, and I'm thinking, come on, buddy, you got to get your mind back and running. I waited to the 8 pole, switched to left hand, and he responded right away, but slowly. When he felt the other horse, he started kind of went on into his business again. So, I mean, it's a little bit more in the tank, I guess. The way he ran today was very good.
Now, Cutting Humor will return to the Pletcher base in Florida to be evaluated. His earnings for the race total $460,000 and 50 Kentucky Derby points. Certainly enough for a starting spot should his connections elect to go forward. Also, kudos to second finisher Another Twist of Fate. He proved he could handle both dirt and distance. In most years, his 30 accumulated Derby points would get him into the race. Well, earlier in the card, the $200,000 Sunland Park Oaks offered the same point arrangement for fillies pointing to the Kentucky Oaks. Trainer Bob Baffert was here to take advantage, having won this race 7 times before. His starter this year was Grade 1 winner Chasing Yesterday, who was making her 2019 debut. The plan was to let her roll away from the gate, but that changed right away.
And back to last, Chasing Yesterday, and is 3 behind, and out in front as they go, a line of them. Cruising up in the center is Backflash, on the outside KP Slickum, and deep on the track and listing, and up the rails is Figure. And Chasing Yesterday has come 5 wide as they go to the turn and catching ground on the outside.
But that poor start forced jockey Drayden Van Dyke to find another way.
As they turn in the Sunland Park Oaks, it's Chasing Yesterday by a length. KP Slickum in second, enlisting on the outside and down the outer, Backflash, Chasing Yesterday by about a length and a half. KP Slickum running a mighty race, chipping away, and Backflash down the outside, a 16th to run, and Chasing Yesterday by 2. Again, KP Slickum pitching in, but Chasing Yesterday, she's just too good for them. Chasing Yesterday, a length and a half.
Chasing Yesterday prevails, but it was not an easy trip to watch, either for trainer Baffert or owner Jane Lyon.
I mean, she was standing beautifully. Everything was great, and the horse next to her acted up. And right when she started moving, right, she sort of hopped up at the start, and I started having some really bad nightmares. And I know, thankfully, she's such a good filly that you know, she gathered herself right away, and down the backside, I felt pretty good that, you know, well, she can spot him a little bit and maybe still, you know, find out how really good a mare she is. And she showed today that, you know, that her class prevailed after a horrible start like that.
Owner breeder Jane Lyon, you were standing right next to Bob at the start. That couldn't have been pleasant.
Well, I just care about my filly, and I was so hopeful that she would run a good race, I had a lot of confidence in her, and then I thought, whoops. But I'm very, very proud of her, and Bob kept saying, you're okay, you're okay. So he kept me from hyperventilating.
Chasing Yesterday is in the Kentucky Oaks if her connections want her to be, but that was only her first start of the year, so definite plans may have to wait a couple of weeks. Sunland Park's biggest race day may be history, but racing action continues here all the way through Kentucky Derby weekend. And we'll be here to update you on the progress of Sunland Park horses headed for Kentucky. And we'll also preview some of the other major events to come before the end of the meet.